In the small town of Oakville, hidden among wooded hills and persistent fog, there exists an empty property that locals simply call the grounds. Few remember the imposing Victorian mansion that once stood there, built in 1887 by eccentric industrialist William Thompson and demolished decades after the mysterious death of the entire family on a single winter night. The concrete that now covers the site seems to contain something more than just the remains of an ancient foundation, a palpable energy that makes visitors feel observed by invisible eyes. Stories about whispering voices, ghostly lights, and humanoid silhouettes are shared in hushed tones by older residents. The demolition, which should have ended the inexplicable phenomena, seems to have merely released what was contained within the walls of the old residence, allowing it to spread through the town like a spiritual infection. Local legend says that anyone who spends enough time near the grounds will leave transformed. Not physically, but something in their essence will never be the same again. Some report heightened sensitivity to the supernatural, others develop inexplicable phobias or strange abilities that defy conventional scientific explanations. Most disturbing is that no one can articulate exactly what changed. They just feel that something fundamental has been altered within them, as if part of their consciousness had been replaced by something ancient and non-human. Local authorities have tried to sell the property 3 times over the years, but each attempt was interrupted by unexplained accidents, sudden illnesses, or the disappearance of essential documents. The grounds remain untouched, as if protected by forces beyond human comprehension, a somber monument to a past that refuses to be forgotten or developed. 4 people know the complete truth about what happens at that location. The investigators, who years ago spent 2 fateful nights in the mansion before its demolition. Sarah Miller, Michael Chen, Jessica Winters, and David Rodriguez entered the Thompson residence as skeptical scientists and specialists in their respective fields, determined to document paranormal phenomena or debunk urban legends. They left fundamentally transformed, each carrying fragments of something that shouldn't exist in our world. Their lives followed radically different paths after the incident, but they remained connected by a shared experience that no one else could understand. What they found in the mansion's basement, the interrupted ritual, the partially opened portal, the hungry entities from the other side, continues to influence not only their existences, but the reality around them, creating ripples that extend far beyond the limits of Oakville. Years have passed since the events at the Thompson mansion, but the consequences continue to echo in the lives of the 4 investigators and in Oakville itself. The small community was never the same after that fateful night, with residents reporting inexplicable experiences with increasing frequency. Visions of silhouettes in the windows of empty houses, whispers audible only to children, and a persistent fog that seems to contain human forms have become part of local daily life. The elders say that the demolition of the mansion merely released what was contained within its walls, allowing it to spread through the town like a spiritual infection. Paranormal tourists began visiting Oakville, attracted by stories about the Thompson property, generating a peculiar economy based on the supernatural. Local hotels frequently report guests who wake up screaming in the middle of the night, describing vivid dreams about a Victorian mansion and rituals in its basement. If you're enjoying this haunting story, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Share in the comments your most inexplicable experience. The City Hall has tried several times to suppress the stories, concerned about the town's reputation, but the phenomena only intensified with each attempt at official denial. Paranormal research teams from renowned universities regularly request permission to study the grounds where the mansion stood, but are systematically refused after intervention from unidentified government agencies. Documents related to the Thompson family have mysteriously disappeared from municipal archives, replaced by edited versions that omit any mention of strange events or the ritual in the basement. Old photographs of the mansion develop dark spots when developed, always obscuring William Thompson's face. Audio recordings made on the property, even after demolition, frequently capture the same phrase repeated in different voices. The portal remains open. Residents living near the grounds report that their clocks frequently stop at midnight, resuming normal operation exactly 7 minutes later. Sarah Miller published a controversial study on fragmented fragmented consciousness and overlapping realities, revolutionizing fields of psychology that previously dismissed paranormal experiences as mere hallucinations or cognitive failures. Her theories, though initially ridiculed by the traditional scientific community, gained credibility when independent experiments began confirming her hypotheses about the malleable nature of reality and the possibility of external consciousnesses influencing human perception. Patients with previously untreatable dissociative disorders found relief through her innovative techniques, which incorporated ritualistic elements subtly similar to those described in the Thompson diaries. Close colleagues noticed that Sarah occasionally seems to converse with someone invisible during moments of intense concentration, and her shadow sometimes moves independently of her body when she isn't paying attention. Her office, decorated with symbols she insists are just abstract art, causes inexplicable discomfort in visitors unfamiliar with her history. Enjoying this journey into the supernatural? Leave your like and share in the comments which of the 4 investigators you think was most affected. Subscribe to not miss our next chilling stories. Michael Chen abandoned his promising technological career to dedicate himself to developing devices capable of detecting frequencies previously considered impossible to measure, creating a bridge between science and the supernatural that attracted reserved governmental attention and funding from undisclosed sources. His devices, initially created to detect residual dimensional signatures, as he calls them, were secretly adapted for use in high-security military installations, where rumors suggest experiments with interdimensional communication. Michael rarely appears in public, communicating primarily through encrypted messages and video conferences where his image frequently presents inexplicable distortions. Former assistants report erratic behavior, including long monologues in unknown languages and the apparent ability to predict electronic failures seconds before they occur. His residence, a modernist structure built on a complex network of circuits and sensors, is described by visitors as alive, with walls that seem to subtly pulse and electronic systems that respond to unverbalized command. Jessica Winters rarely speaks about that night at the Thompson mansion, but her diaries of premonitory dreams have become valuable to authorities investigating seemingly unsolvable cases, resolving dozens of crimes that seemed impossible to decipher. After losing her traditional mediumistic abilities, she developed a different form of extrasensory perception, a direct connection to future events that manifest in her dreams with disturbing precision. National security agencies consult her secretly, though publicly denying any association with non-scientific method. Jessica lives in seclusion in a house surrounded by meticulously maintained salt circles, and visitors report that mirrors are strictly forbidden on her property. Her physical appearance seems to subtly fluctuate, with facial features that appear slightly different depending on the angle of observation or ambient lighting. Close associates note that she occasionally responds to questions before they are verbalized, as if existing in a constant state of temporal misalignment. Feeling the chills? Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more supernatural stories like this. Comment on which aspect of this story you found most disturbing. David Rodriguez became the most reserved of the group, isolating himself in a mountain cabin where he translates ancient texts in languages that academics partially recognize but cannot fully identify. Prestigious universities offer considerable sums for his translations, which have revealed previously unknown historical connections between civilizations separated by oceans and millennia. Occasional visitors report hearing multiple voices coming from his cabin, even when he is verifiably alone, animatedly conversing in dialects extinct for centuries. His cabin, built in a pattern that precisely replicates the proportions of the Thompson mansion in reduced scale, contains an extensive library of rare texts on dimensional portals and fragmented consciousness. Recent photographs show David with a significantly younger appearance than his contemporaries, with no visible signs of aging since the events at the mansion. Local residents claim that on new moon nights, 7 different figures can be seen walking around his property, all with David's silhouette but moving independently. The property where the Thompson mansion stood remains empty, rejected by real estate developers developers, despite its potential value in a growing town, with development proposals mysteriously abandoned after visits to the site. Plants refuse to grow on the concrete-covered ground, creating a perfect rectangle of sterility visible in satellite images, like a scar on the urban landscape. Animals instinctively avoid the location, creating a natural perimeter that not even insects cross, while electronic equipment frequently fails in the vicinity or captures inexplicable signals. Attempts to install security cameras invariably result in damaged equipment and corrupted recordings, which, when partially recovered, briefly show human silhouettes where there should be no one. Workers contracted for basic maintenance of the grounds report sensations of being watched and whispering voices that seem to emanate from the concrete itself. Geological measurements detect a thermal anomaly exactly where the mansion's basement was located, an area permanently colder than the surrounding environment, even on the hottest summer days. Enjoying this chilling story? Leave your like and share in the comments if you would visit Oakville after knowing this story. Subscribe for more supernatural content. The four investigators rarely meet in person, but maintain an inexplicable connection that transcends physical space, frequently dreaming of each other on new moon nights, or feeling simultaneous compulsions to look toward Oakville, no matter where they are in the world. They know, without needing to verbalize it, that part of them remains in the Thompson mansion, just as part of the mansion lives within them, a supernatural symbiosis that continues to evolve as the years pass. The boundary between worlds that William Thompson tried to cross remains thin in that location, and the guardians from the other side still patiently wait for another opportunity to fully cross into our reality. Meanwhile, in distant cities, people occasionally wake from vivid nightmares about a Victorian mansion they've never visited, feeling inexplicably drawn to a small town called Oakville. Some eventually yield to this inexplicable call, moving there without apparent reason, their eyes occasionally reflecting a bluish light when they pass by the empty grounds where the mansion existed, new potential hosts for fragments of consciousness still seeking physical form. The legacy of the Thompson mansion transcends time and space, a somber reminder that the boundaries between worlds are thinner than humanity would like to believe. The four investigators, forever marked by their experience, have become unwilling guardians of dangerous knowledge that few could bear. Their lives, seemingly separate, form a constellation of protection around the secret they share, each using their new abilities to monitor the repercussions of that fateful night. Sarah, with her new understanding of fragmented consciousness. Michael, with his devices capable of detecting the imperceptible. Jessica, with her premonitory dreams. And David, with his knowledge of forgotten languages. All have become sentinel against what waits on the other side. Perhaps most remarkable is how each found purpose in their transformation, converting horror into tools for understanding the incomprehensible. Their discoveries, carefully shared with those prepared to receive them, slowly expand the limits of human knowledge about the nature of reality. The shared trauma forged in them an extraordinary resilience, an ability to face the abyss and return with wisdom instead of madness. In their hands, the terrifying legacy of the Thompson mansion transformed into an opportunity to illuminate the darkest corners of existence. As the sun sets over Oakville and shadows lengthen across the empty grounds where the mansion once stood, the four know that their story is far from over. The portal that William Thompson tried to open remains ajar, a constant reminder that there are realities beyond our own, patiently waiting for another chance to cross the veil. But as long as the fragments of consciousness inhabiting the investigators remain vigilant, humanity will continue to be protected from what waits on the other side. And perhaps in future generations, other exceptional individuals will be drawn to Oakville, ready to assume the mantle of guardians when the time comes, sentinels at the boundary between worlds, forever transformed by their encounter with the unknown, but stronger because of it.